Good day and welcome to another session of the Google News Initiative Digital Growth Program. My name is Lawrence, and in the chat, answering your live Q&A, your questions will be Romy. Um, Once again, welcome to this live session called Establishing a Digital Newsroom, which is part of a business strategy course track, which is all part of the G&I Digital Growth Program. Let me show you what kind of lessons there are, and because this is one of many. And I must say, during this live session, you are invited to participate, to engage. So if you do have any comments, any questions, please let us know via the live chat, the Q&A, live Q&A. Say hi to Romy. Tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, which newsroom you are affiliated with, so we can say hi. But first, before we go into the topic of this session, establishing a digital newsroom, I would like to show you where this lesson sits within the broader context of the G&I Digital Growth Program. So as you can see, there is a lesson plan to become a successful digital publisher. And there are many sessions, also roundtables, labs, which you can attend to get some inspiration, learn about case studies, and engage in activities to become a successful digital publisher. Earlier today, there was a live session on digital publishing success. This one is called Establishing a Digital Newsroom. And later today, there will be a session on growing your readership. But there are also many other sessions. This is all part of business strategy, as you can see in the left column. Next to that, there's audience development, data management, advertising revenue, and reader revenue. So go look on the webpage and see what other sessions you might be interested in. Register and do attend and engage. And also the roundtables for all these different tracks, where one will be held later today. I will tell you more about. First of all, before we go into today's lesson, I would like to emphasize that to get the most out of this training, we want to help show you the variety of options that are available to you. However, it's really important for us to say that these are just options. And the world of digital publishing is complex. The online digital publishing world is complex. And each and every business has their own aims, needs, experiences, different types of audience, different cultures, different countries, and obviously a varying amount of resources available. So it's up to you which actions you want to take based upon the inspiration, case studies, and activities we are showing you. It's all a matter of options, and it's up to you to decide what actions and next steps you're going to take. So having said that, I want to tell you why this matters, why establishing a digital newsroom matters. And one of the most important things is changing from within. So the way people are consuming the news is changing so much more than just the reduction of print. So there is a knock-on effect causing a ripple across the entire organization. And in this session, we'll think about our people, your people in your newsroom, the skills and roles, as we ask what's important inside a future newsroom. So we've divided this session into 3 topics. The focus for the lesson will be people and culture, your digital product, and emerging technologies. So once again, people and culture, that's the first part, your digital product, and then emerging technologies. So questions you could ask yourself, and we'll go into some checklists and some skills you might need, and also technology and tools you can use. First question would be, how could your structure, roles, and priorities change within now and the near future? Second question, regarding your digital product, what are some important factors to consider for your product? And thirdly, the emerging technologies, what technology could help you become a successful digital publisher? Now, let's go into the first topic, people and culture. Let's start with a look at people and culture in your newsroom. So, working together as a team, some publishers have found success when their strategy involves editorial, technology, and the business teams working together on a shared vision. So again, think about editorial, business strategy, marketing, sales, data, technology, have them all work together. And we'll go into that a bit deeper right now. So with a case study. La Vanguardia is a Spanish daily newspaper. Were founded in 1881, based in Barcelona. It's Catalonia's leading newspaper. They combined both digital and print teams in a single newsroom. For those of you who work in publishing, it may sometimes feel like there are two sides of the publishing business. So there's the editorial side on the one hand, which lives at the top, or you could see it like this, top of the funnel, and on the bottom end, there's the business side. So you have these two historical sides. It could be viewed like this. And this historical two sides view of journalism means that newsrooms sometimes find it difficult to link these two together, the top of the funnel and to the bottom of the funnel. So working together doesn't mean that you have to lower your quality of your journalism. The goal is here to find a solution that works for both sides. Now, a couple of newsrooms like Quartz and Vox are great examples of news organizations that have different departments successfully working together. And La Vanguardia has done the same thing. Now, the Westfalen Post, which is a German newspaper based in Hagen, daily regional newspaper, they found a way to have the commercial teams and the editorial teams work together side by side, and has been critical to its digital transformation. So this is another example which you might look into of a newsroom that has successfully changed within and had the commercial side and editorial side work together hand in hand. Now, in order to have people with different backgrounds, maybe working in different departments or on different sides of the organization, you need to have a changing set of skills. So some of them are data, and data can be useful when making important decisions. So you have to bring various publishing teams together, and they have to make use of new tools, new skills. So they have to be more data literate in a way to understand what data means. It could be analytics, it could be trends, it could be other maybe market research, audience research, all these kinds of data you might need to take into account in order to establish the newsroom of the future. So there need to be data skilled people working there, not just on the commercial side, but also on the editorial side. Then the second part is mixed media. Because digital lends itself to a host of new media types, and people need to be experienced and literate in using all these different forms and different types of media to tell stories. Thirdly, it's adaptability. And this is a new and ever-changing skill set, and it's a good idea to embrace a positive mindset towards learning. So adapt to new environments, to new media types, to new business models, as you might have seen in the earlier session today, or look into other sessions this week. Being eager to learn, it's something about a skill set that everyone working in a newsroom needs to have and needs to have a positive mindset towards. Now, Denik N, which is a Slovakian newspaper, daily newspaper, they provide all of the journalists with access to their analytics tool, and it was developed in-house, the way to see what their content was doing. So the data is used by the newsroom to optimize the placement, the teaser length, and the titles of articles, for example. So again, it could be the placement, the teaser length, and the titles of articles. Reporters also get a daily email briefing that consists of the conversion rates, the total subscription sales, and revenues per article. Numbers like page views, unique users, or average time spent on article are never shared with the newsroom. These are not what journalists should be worrying about, according to the editor. Again, as I've said earlier, the way you want to use maybe the insights into analytics, or which people get the insights, could see these numbers, and which numbers, which metrics, which KPIs, depends on your context, your newsroom, your resources again. But then again said, these conversion rates, subscription sales, and revenues per article, this is what reporters get, but page views, unique users, or average time spent are never shared with the newsroom. So that's something you can decide. But as the editor said, to add it to this, it helps if they know how many of their readers think that their articles are so great that they actually want to buy a subscription. It's this focus on the numbers that has proven a key factor of success for Deniken. Now, So the mindset for a digital newsroom, data-driven, test and learn. So data can help drive and influence future decisions across the entire newsroom. The test and learn is an approach of trying new ideas and help you determine the right route to take. Now this also asks a lot of your flexibility or adaptability, to test and learn, to not polish every inch and every detail, but to see and determine if you're on the right track, the right route. Now there's this newsroom called, and you pronounce it as Meow, Media Entertainment Arts Worldwide. And it's a great example of test and learn, because what they did with regard to the ad strategy, they revisited the way it implemented ads to better complement the editorial content. So readers can still see that these native ads are exactly that, ads, but they look less ugly and more in keeping with the overall design and appearance of the publication as a whole. The results, they had 200% higher CPMs as a result of their new ad strategy. Now, a question I would like to ask you: what skills does your newsroom have, and which do you think are still needed? So think about it for a moment or two. What skills does your newsroom have, and which ones do you think are still needed, or which one do you think you need to have? Think about it. And I'll look into the chat to see if there are any questions already. And no, there are no questions at this moment, Romy tells me. But please, if you have a question or a comment, please do use the live chat, the live Q&A, to engage and to participate with this session. Now, here's a checklist that might help you, a skills checklist, an activity you could do. We ask you to think about your newsroom, what do you have, and what others might be helpful when it comes to skills. So there might be some core skills that translate easily into the digital world, but there will also be some new ones, such as you can see right here, video creation, production, social media management, development, front-end, back-end development, graphic design, photography, writing for web, and obviously you can tick the box of excellent journalism. But for some things you might need to recruit externally, and some things you can upskill, and see if there's any opportunities for learning for your existing employees and editors and other people in the newsroom. So these are some example skills, but there might be different ones that you're in need of, or might realize right now that you should maybe upskill people for, or recruit. So think about it for a moment. What are the skills that you have, and what might be helpful? Now, another activity you could do is a digital newsroom checklist, and think about, are you transparent around your data? So which data do you have, and how could it be, and why could it be important for everyone in the newsroom to access this data or get this data on a frequent basis? Secondly, are you putting your ideas to the test through test and learn methods? So is there a method, a workflow in place that really promotes this way of working? And thirdly, are your communication channels open, and are you working towards the same goal? So did you have this goal, this shared goal defined, and does everyone know? And if you ask, could they repeat the shared goal, and do they live to reach this goal? Now, your digital product, traditionally news publishing began in print before expanding with other editions, including digital later on. But if you look at this, daily print publishing, weekly publishing, digital product, this would be traditional publishers' starting point in maybe a well recognized and familiar way. But if you think digital first, it might look like this. And there could be a new starting point. You could launch an app. But therefore you might need to build a digital infrastructure first. But do you need weekly publishing or daily print publishing? So if you think digital first, maybe it's interesting to look at Dagens Nyheter. It's a Swedish newspaper, and it still comes from print. 2/3 of the revenue of this daily Swedish newspaper comes from print, but its leadership decided to focus on the digital presentation as if print didn't exist. And Martin Jönsson, who is the head of the editorial development in the newspaper, said, "We make sure every article is published at the right time and in the right format for the digital audience. If your goal is to build digital loyalty, you have to start from digital quality. So that means reviewing your metrics to understand the needs of your readers, then change into a positive spiral where more quality attracts more subscribers and gets you more revenue and more journalists." So in the last 4 years, Dagens Nyheter had achieved that. It's much cheaper to publish a digital project, Jensen said. You shouldn't care too much whether revenue comes from print or digital, as long as you can get a profitable business. We must say Swedish publishers are in a very privileged position. Jensen says that most of their customers pay for either music, movies, or news, and 30% pay for all three. So that's a rather interesting example and remarks by Dagens Nyheter, a Swedish daily newspaper. Now, there is one thing that is particular good to know, is that readers love to complete some piece of content. They love the sense of achievement that comes from finishing a daily edition. In a digital environment dominated by endless feeds, finite products are quite appealing. Richard Furness from The Guardian said, "Journalists should remember that their job is not publishing as much as they can, but editing what is important." And I think it's a very powerful remark. So designed to complete, having finite products that appeal. It's an interesting take on establishing your digital newsroom. Another case study by The Times is rethinking your publishing schedule. They changed its internal process to make its publishing schedule more flexible, which meant that journalists could keep filing after the print deadline, and the readers valued us for our insights, our analysis, and the authority of our reporting, not for the ability to catch up very quickly, Alan Hunter, head of digital at The Times, said. So think about it, that with digital you don't have these deadlines for print, so you could keep on filing after deadlines, or maybe even deadlines disappear at all. So this is a question to you, and after that I will be looking to the questions you might have asked us. Are you thinking digital first? And now I'm going to look at the questions, because I know there are two questions. Laia says, 2 comments. Our newsroom has core editorial skills. We need more data analytics and digital marketing skills. Now, Laia, I can refer to other lessons, and will point to them at the end of this session as well. But please do look at the schedule and the other sessions that are planned for this week and that are available to you within the GNI Digital Growth Program. So please look into those to get more inspiration, activities, and use cases, case studies on data analytics and marketing skills. I think there's plenty more for you to take away. And then Cheyenne says, we have many digital writing skills, but we need skills create engaging interactive stories with multimedia skills. Well, that's an interesting one, because if you, Cheyenne, already recognize that you need these skills, the second step could be, should I upskill myself or the ones I'm working with, the people in my newsroom, or maybe we should hire talent, or look to maybe universities or other education where the people are being trained to do just this, and see if it means that you can attract this, because realizing that you need these kinds of skills is the first step, and now what will be your second step? So think about that for a moment. Hoping to have addressed both comments and questions from Laia and Cheyenne. This question to you, I think you probably answer yes. Are you thinking digital first? But maybe the other viewers think differently. And in order to do that, this might be an activity you could partake in, and think about data transparency, test and learn, open communications. Are you sharing relevant reports? And does everyone know the vision and the goals you are working towards? And fourth, we are thinking digital first and publishing at the time that's right for our readers. So think about the previous case study by The Times, where reports could file after print deadlines, and that their audience said, we're not valuing you for breaking the news or keeping us up to date, but having actual accurate reporting, in-depth analysis, and all the values that The Times is addressing and wants to work towards. Now, So this activity would be emerging technologies. It's the second topic. Now, innovative examples of emerging technologies are changing how we gather and deliver content. So maybe you're familiar with the Gartner Hype Cycle. It's a technology tracking map that shows the emerging trends and the timeline they take. The time they take to get to mass market. The purpose of this is to show you, as a publisher, not just what's available in the here and now, but also look forward to the future and what other important technology you might need to consider. So Gartner's Hype Cycle helps you into graphical depiction of a common pattern that arises with each new technology or other innovation. So each year, Gartner creates more than 90 hype cycles in various domains as a way for clients to track technology maturity and future potential. So as you can see here, there are 5 phases: the technology trigger, the peak of inflated expectations, the trough of disillusionment, the slope of enlightenment, and the plateau of productivity. And this might help you to show you not just what's available, but look forward to the future of what might be important technology and things you need to consider to start learning about or experiment or test and learn with. Now, another case study is from Geneo. It's a Spanish newspaper and media group. They cover press, radio, television, internet channels to produce and publish content for. And now they're developing a project currently to allow readers to interact with content by voice. The voice interaction and the voice user voice systems and voice speech recognition. This kind of technology were already being discovered within the Gartner Hype Cycle, and now Geneo thought, well, let's see if we can experiment with allowing readers to interact with content by voice. It will put voice in every step of news production, recording, transcription of an interview using voice to text, recording a podcast with the CMS, the content management system, the creation of voice bots for intelligent devices to distribute the content. And well, the principle is that voice will not kill the web, will not kill mobile or video, but publishers must prepare themselves to offer news in any format and use every multimedia capability to create better content. Now, this is one of a news organizations that are experimenting with things like voice. And what you could take away from this as well is that it means listening to your audience, or publishing your news as a conversation and what this conversation might mean. So it doesn't really depend on the technology. The technology is just a tool, but it helps you look at your value. What could you offer and deliver to your audience? And having your news published as a conversation could help you think about what the conversation needs to be, looking at your values. Now, another piece of technology could be automation, and this is a case study by NBC. They were publishing enough videos to satisfy viewers, but it's no easy task, obviously, because it takes a lot of work. But they use a video automation tool like Wibbits, so they could help support the ever-growing demand for video. And Wibbits is a tool that's used by many large media publishers, including NBC, and it helps them to create the videos that viewers demand of them. Now, another last case for this part is another one from Dagens Nyheter, and this describes how playing with the tech can expand your audience. They started creating innovative formats such as VR, podcasts, audiobooks. They've attracted a different audience. So these new technologies, these new tools might help to cater to another demographic, a different audience, much younger, more female, and less urban. So 73% of the print circulation is sold in Stockholm, and 60% of the digital subscribers live in other cities. So we are reaching new people, says Martin Janssen, the head of editorial development from Dagens Nyheter. So we have to understand how these new readers define quality and what we can do about that. And therefore, they try to and are really experimenting and getting good numbers on working with innovative formats, again, such as VR, podcasts, and audiobooks. So those might be tools, technologies, and media types you could experiment with to establish your digital newsroom that caters to your audience needs and obviously takes your values into account. So the question here is, do you know what technology is available for your organization? So think about that for a moment, and I will look into the chat and the live Q&A and see if there are any questions Romy or I could address. I see there is one question. Is convergence really helping? All the mainstream publications have gone digital first. They were using the print journalists to do that. They need the right kind of training to understand the medium. Can Google News Initiative help in this, like live hands-on sessions? Well, I think the way to look at your question, and one thing we're hoping is that this digital growth program can help journalists, people working in newsrooms, to address questions like this, to understand the medium, to get the most out of maybe new technology, digital tools. But also, if you look at the previous session, and if you did not attend, you might be able to watch it at some other time, and think about what digital means, what options there are for you, and what values you are creating, and what kind of content you are offering to your readers. If you take all these different things into account, then that might help you to establish a digital newsroom. Think about the skills, the knowledge, and the attitude, the mindset that people in the newsroom need in order to address this question. So I hope this is a short answer to your question. And yes, I do think that obviously these lessons here within the bigger GNI Digital Growth Program can help you. But it's up to you which actions you take and which decisions you make, what kind of data you need, what kind of skills you need, what kind of experiments you would like to undertake to see what works for your newsroom in your context, with your mission, your audience, and your amount of resources you're willing to put into this. So it's no easy question, therefore it's a very good question to ask. And so thank you. And let me continue for the last activity. So we've looked at different things you could do to think about your digital newsroom. Do you have data transparency? Is there a mindset of testing and learning? Are there open communication, sharing relevant reports, and does everyone know the shared vision and goals? Are you thinking digital first, and are you publishing at the right time that's right for your readers, and not maybe from the legacy perspective of the print deadlines like the Times did? And then lastly, are you in a way excited about emerging technology, and are you exploring what's available to use and what's relevant to use? It's useful to consider what new technologies are what new technologies are emerging, and take time to actively identify things to develop. And therefore, again, you need to go back to your context and your values, your resources. And there are a lot of options out there, and what steps you choose will depend on your organization, individual needs, also your experience and your aims. So, to summarize all this that we've covered in this session today, it starts with people and culture. How could your structure, roles, and priorities change? And to go into the question that was answered just a few moments ago, is convergence really helping? Just take a look at some case studies. It's a really complex and hard question to answer with yes or no. I think you should go look into the different contexts of the different publishers, the case studies we've covered today, and see which inspire you and which seems similar maybe to the situation that you are in, and takes into account the same sort of experience, aims, and audiences, resources, to really be able to answer that question for yourself. So I hope you understand. And obviously, we need good journalists. It might not be very valuable to think about print journalists, but think as journalists of people who are investigating and doing the research, are able storytellers, knows what people would like to read, or how they could really inform people, or generate a great narrative in order to explain or to engage or to inform people. All these roles might not depend on the medium you were brought up with, but I would say think about what's the essence of a good journalist, of someone who's really knows how to work with data or how to work with video, and you need all these skills. So again, people and culture is the first thing. Skills and training checklist, that's an activity you could do. Second, your digital project. What are some important factors to consider for your project when you want to start developing maybe new products, new services? And then thirdly, are you willing to explore emerging technologies and see if there's anything of value or relevance with it could be podcasts, it could be newsletters, but also VR, AR. But think about emerging tech and how it could help you or benefit your readers when you would deploy that, like Dagens Nyheter, the Swedish national newspaper, when they were experimenting with innovative formats like podcasts and audiobooks, they tailored to maybe a different demographic, younger audience. Think about that. Now, for the last time, let's see if there are any questions in the chat. And I'll look once again. Let's see. I don't think there are any other questions at this moment. Obviously, when they do arise, please don't keep them for yourselves, but join us maybe later today for the roundtable sessions. But also, there are other sessions where you can attend. Just register and look at these. This overview, they're online, and you can look into these as well online. Obviously, there's business strategy. After this today, we have growing your readership as another session. And obviously, there are other sessions on audience development, data management, advertising revenue, and reader revenue. So please make sure to check these out and read about them and register or attend. If not, there are other options for you as well. As said, today there is a roundtable session where you can address the same sort of questions and maybe discuss challenges you have and brainstorm solutions with the participants. There's an opportunity to ask more about what you've learned. There are labs where there's more training available. And lastly, Romy will add a link into the chat, to the live chat, where we ask you to provide us with your feedback, because it's very important to us and this helps us evolve and improve our support for you. So for this session, I would like to thank you for your participation, for your attendance, and please make sure to take a quick moment to give us your feedback. And hoping I will see you at the roundtable later today, or any other session that sits within this GNI Digital Growth Program. Thank you for your time. On behalf of Romy as well, my name is Lawrence, and good luck and establishing your digital newsroom.